Now, the case of Margaret Nduta is one of the cases that is trending. The life of this lady is literally on the line because she's been found guilty of drug trafficking in Vietnam, and per the laws of that country, she's set to be executed by lethal injection. As it stands now, her government, the Kenyan government, have allegedly been able to intervene in pleading for her clemency on her behalf, and per reports being gathered, it's been alleged that her execution, which was supposed to have happened a few days ago, has been paused and pushed back to sometime in June 2025. But in this video, I'm going to outline the fate, or let me say the possible fate, that could be in store for Margaret Nduta if the efforts by the Kenyan government fails and Vietnam decides to still go ahead and execute her per the lethal injection. Now, this is a video that is going to outline what Margaret Nduta would face if the death penalty is carried out. Now, per what the sentence has been, the execution would be by lethal injection. And per that, if it's to be carried out, practically, she would have to go through 3 stages. Or I wouldn't want to even link it to it. Let me just say that these are the 3 stages that lethal injection executions go through. Now, the first is sedation, also known as anesthetic injection. Now, at this stage, this is where everything starts from. Or let me say, even prior to this, there would have been the part where the person would have been asked for the specific final meal the person wants to take. Usually, some prisoners would mention what they want to have or what they want to eat as their final meal before they go to meet their maker. There have been some rare instances where some prisoners would still be defiant to the end and tell the system that they don't want to eat anything. They don't want anything of theirs. To just go and face their baker squarely on an empty stomach on their own terms. Most often, some people would specify, and if they specify, they'll be given whichever food they want. Now, after that, they would have to be taken through any form of religious option that they choose. If it's Christianity, a priest will be made available. If it's any other of the other ones, they will make a medium of that available to the person. And then we get to sedation. Now, that is when there will be the anesthetic injection. And here, a drug such as sodium thiopental or pentobarbital will be administered to the person undergoing the execution. Now, I'm sure you are wondering why this particular drug. Well, the drug will make the person unconscious and as such prevent them from feeling pain. It acts very quickly and usually takes just about 30 seconds to kick in and take effect. From this point, paralysis will set in. Paralysis simply refers to muscle relaxant injection. Now, for this to be achieved, a drug like pancuronium bromide or recuronium bromide will be injected into the person. Upon this injection, it begins to paralyze the muscles of the person, including the diaphragm, and then also moves on to stop the person from breathing. At this point, the person would appear motionless, but it's possible that they may still be conscious if the first drug had failed. Then comes the third stage, which would be the cardiac arrest, that is the lethal injection. Now for this, a high dose of potassium chloride will be given or administered to this prisoner, and then once it's administered, it disrupts the heart's electrical signals, causing immediate cardiac arrest of this person. And at this point, The death will occur within minutes if all the drugs work as intended. This is the heinous fate that is hanging in the balance for Margaret Nduta Makaria. And honestly, if you think you have problems on this earth, imagine you are filling her shoes as of now. I don't think you'd want to be here. This lady is in a very tight spot. Even the fact that the execution has allegedly been stayed and pushed back to sometime in June 2025 based on the interference and plea of the Kenyan government for clemency on her behalf is still not something to take comfort in, because I think that it just creates a haunting situation where she will now be in a trauma and dilemma as to wondering what is going to happen by then. Is it that her death has just been delayed but it's actually inevitable, or it's something else? And if you are Margaret Nduta or if you are related to her, this is a heavy thing, and I respect whatever trauma you are going through. I think that if you know the family, this is the time to commiserate with them, draw closer with them, give them any emotional support, because look, it's not easy. We cover these cases, but that is not to say that we don't understand and appreciate the toll it takes on the families of some of these people caught up in these kind of situations. Because, like I said in my previous videos, this lady had a life. She has kids. She's a twin. She has siblings. She has a mom. She has family members. And if it turns out that she's truly innocent, like she keeps claiming, imagine how painful that would be. Imagine how painful that will actually be, knowing very well that this is not something you actually set out to do for money, but that you trusted blindly, you were naive, and to a point you were stupid, and somebody who is just heartless has taken advantage of that. And just like that, your life is literally on the line, hanging in the balance. And if you are not lucky and the clemency isn't successful, you could actually be meeting your maker in just about 3 months in the heinous way of a lethal injection. Compare that to any problem you are facing in your life and tell me if anything you are facing beats that. That is the fate of Margaret Nduta as it hangs in the balance now. I'm really hoping there will be clemency for her. Maybe she serves a life sentence. But like I said, this case brings emotions into contact with the law. And in such situations, emotions cannot win because the law is the law. I don't know if Vietnam is going to make a one-time exception for this lady. But these are dark times that are possibly ahead. I don't know how this case will unravel. Like I promised you, I'm following this case keenly. As and when there are any updates, I'm going to bring them to you. And I've already told you that there's one other lady, also a Kenyan, by name Peshlema. She was jailed on a similar thing, similar consequences, similar facts of that case in Ghana. I'm going to put out an episode and I'll compare a case with that of Margaret Nduta, and you see how similar the whole thing is. Yeah, these things are happening to people. I think that everybody needs to be careful. If you are watching this video, if you are privileged to have heard me on this video, share it with the people in your circles. You never know who the next target would be. Just share the video so people learn to be careful, because imagine she is actually innocent and her life has gotten to this point just because she was naive and uninformed. Well, I'm following the case. As and when there are any updates, I'll bring them to you. Subscribe and stay tuned. I'll catch you on the next one.